Hello and welcome to the program. I am Suren. Do you remember your dreams? That is a good question. Beyond experience of awareness in our everyday conscious existence, everyone around us is aware of yet another reality. The reality of the inner self. Even if we may not fully recognize it, our instincts, emotions, thoughts, and judgments of the exterior world operate at this level and continue to keep our minds busy, although we may not be entirely conscious. It is in sleep, in fact, that we can access our inner selves, for our dreams can reveal more things, most vividly and buried in deep layers of the mind. For many people, dreams can be entertaining or intriguing, interesting stories, as well as a source of fun. However, they can be a lot more than that. After all, they are recognized as playing an important role in the analysis of the mind and well-known devices for predicting the future. And now, I will be a little bit more brave to say such as cards and fortune charts, if they can be regarded as indicators of our personal destiny. Let us explore the complex world of dreams and wide field of beliefs and methods designed to open the pathways to the unconscious, or as you may know as the subconscious, and possibly to the paranormal experiences and the future. As we will discover, dreams also find their expression in creative arts. Visions and images seen or perceived during sleep are mirrored in our films, paintings, and literature, as the poetry of Wordsworth, the art of the surrealists, and films of well-known directors illustrate. While we may explore our inner self by reflecting upon our dreams, there is also the possibility of delving into the subconscious, or properly said, unconscious, and encouraging future to reveal itself by probably experimenting with various fortune-telling devices. A little later, we will look at the symbolism of omens, oracles, and science, and try to explain how we can obtain glimpses of our next destination and fortunes by understanding the significance of spilt salt, for instance, or itches, and by reading random patterns, whether they occur as swirling tea leaves or coffee grounds, as in Turkish coffee or Greek coffee, or as thrown dice or shuffled dominoes. The ancient practices of palmistry and numerology, together with the more, shall we say, recent theory of phrenology, will be explained in detail a little later. And throughout, there is sound advice about how to and how not to interpret what is being revealed. In conclusion, we may even explore the most aristocratic of oracles, the tarot cards, and the I Ching, or the Chinese Book of Changes to the easier paths to prophecy, which, like dreams, may be regarded as opening gates towards our inner selves. Some may think the dreams of being like some kind of nighttime jokes. Some often has a friend who could come over at work or in the shops and saying, "Oh, I had the oddest, funniest dream last night." This can usually be the start of a good story, even a conversation. And they may be a collection of strange ideas, perhaps involving a mutual friend, set in the most unlikely circumstances, or filled with terror and fear that no one can really understand the reason for it. The normal reaction would be to marvel at the oddity of it all, and then forget it altogether. However, you can get much more out of dreams than jokes or strange stories. It is interesting to note, for instance, that people always want to tell their dreams to someone, as if there is a natural desire to go back over the experience, or maybe to try and think it out. With a little knowledge and experience, you will be able to learn, as we all do, some valuable things about yourself and your friends, about characters, aims, ambitions, and the problems which are bothering your unconscious mind. You might even find a solution to a dilemma which has been worrying you for days, if not years. The most important step in here is to realize that the dreams are not organized nonsense. Realize that your brain is not resting by scrambling up thoughts and turning everything upside down, for a few hours, that is, while your body relaxes. Our dreams may contain some frightening glimpse into the dark world of the mind. One thing is certain, that there is nothing dangerous or harmful about dwelling on your dreams, though you don't need to be obsessive about it. Psychology and dreams. Many people seem to think that all the talk about the mind and psychoanalysis involved in dream interpretation is nonsense. But we should not make the mistake of thinking it is a pseudoscience, fit only for ridicule. The work of famous psychoanalysts like Freud and Jung has helped thousands of people. That is normal, healthy people we are talking about, to say nothing of many cases of extreme mental disturbance. Their discoveries can be applied in a simple way to everyone's own experience of life. You don't have to be neurotic or obsessive or anything else so serious. Just as doctors can treat grave physical diseases, but also show the world in general the basic rules of personal or home hygiene, for instance. So the psychoanalysts have shown well-balanced human beings how they can be more self-aware and lead fuller, happier lives. What are dreams? There are many theories about the significance and the meaning of dreams, but everyone basically agrees that they are a product of the unconscious mind. This is best explained by looking at what happens when people daydream. The mind is wide awake and aware, that is, conscious. You might be going out, shopping, knitting, watching television, or filing cards in a perfectly ordinary way, but your thoughts wander on their own. Perhaps you go over what happened last night, or more often, what you hope will happen in the future. Sometimes these daydreams become truly separated from reality. People imagine themselves on, say, the park or beaches, or being involved with or married to millionaires. While it lasts, a daydream seems vivid and true, but when you snap out of it, it is easy to forget. Something of the same process occurs in dreams, which take place during sleep. The conscious, controlling part of the mind becomes relaxed, although it does not switch off all its powers. And a submerged layer of thoughts, ideas and feelings come to the surface. Because this part of the mind obeys its own logic. It describes things in its own direct way, using word pictures, if it makes sense, and seemingly irrational chains of connections. This is why in dreams, people do impossible things or shift quickly from one scenario to the other. The unconscious mind is going direct to the point, without needing to progress in a logical sequence, as the conscious mind does. The other characteristics of dreams, which everyone who recalls them will recognize, is that they are often unusually vivid, either visually or in mood swings. Sometimes the feelings they generate can be so strong that they affect the dreamer's mood for the next day. Sometimes it is called, as you may know, getting out of bed on the wrong side. For instance, somebody successful relates to a series of dreams he had during the early part of his career, all of which were set in some difficult situation, as with battlements and war. And remember, war is one of the classic images of pressure and tension. While he was working on his dreams involved his own attempts to avoid some nameless terror, which came in a variety of guises. After he takes control of a large department, or a studio, or some business in a big company or establishment, and the war continues. Except this preoccupation became trying to get the other people in the dream to cope with his attack. Significantly, many people would not recall the visual detail of the dreams, apart from that setting. But the feelings of fear, panic, and frustration associated with them remain. And they are vivid, very colorful. It is quite common to have a very happy or successful dream and to wake up feeling particularly pleased with yourself. Little children, for example, often dream of receiving things, and they wake up feeling very elated and can be very downhearted when they realize it was only a dream. And that is quite typical for a small boy who was telling his mother in great excitement about his dream of the night before. Imagine him being chased by a very wicked witch, and he tried to run into the house for protection through the kitchen door, but it wouldn't open. He struggles and struggles, and a fierce witch draws nearer and nearer. Then finally, at the last minute, the door handle gave, and he got inside the safety. Imagine. And the boy's mother replies in her usual way, "Oh well, never mind. It was only a dream, love." To which the child, the little boy, may retort, saying, "Next time I have a dream, maybe you should leave the door open, Mom." Children can be taught how to distinguish the difference between the inner space of the unconscious and the outer space of the consciousness. We know that some primitive tribes still make no differentiation between the two. The alternate reality of dreams is also very important to consider here. In relation to that, the dreams happen entirely of their own accord, and currently we cannot make them happen or have some control of what is being included in our dreams. What are the dreams for, you might ask? And so do I ask that too. To tell you the least, they are the way by which the unconscious mind sifts and sorts experiences. If you can visualize the brain as an enormous receiving station with all kinds of knowledge and information going into it every day, then you can understand that it has a large duty, a large task to perform. Remember, during sleep, the conscious part of the mind is inactive. The unconscious then processes the vast collection of material, like new situations, new facts, experiences, past or current, unsolved worries, fears, desires, and much more. It draws up emotions from the deepest recesses of the mind and memory and takes into account all the new knowledge, all the new information which the conscious mind has received. Then, of course, in its own unique style, it presents a visual and emotional image to you in a dream. You might have a problem which you are consciously putting off because you do not wish to think about it. But it never goes away and may well present itself to you in a dream. In a sense, the sorting station is sending a message. It says, don't forget, don't overlook this problem. Sometimes dreams may even offer a possible solution to problems. So we cannot really ignore them. Now, there is a deeper part as we have already mentioned, where the instincts, intuitions, and emotions originate from, and these are drawn up into dreams through the sorting house function, producing a very powerful effect on the mind. Just as people push problems to one side consciously, so also they ignore the real feelings. It is interesting to note that people often say, "What do you think about this and that reality, really, deep down?" Or in my heart I believe such and such, and as if in common speech they acknowledge the existence of this innermost part of the mind, where strong, genuine feelings are to be found. By recognizing where the subject matter in the dreams comes from, you can begin to understand more of your true nature, your real views and attitudes, your feelings, your emotions and needs, and relating the dream pictures to your everyday existence. Get a better grip on your life situation. However, not all dreams are exactly the problem solvers and problem posers, but they are a representation of some part of your life, often the part with which you cope not very successfully. What about people who say they never dream? Is it possible? If thinking about dreams is so helpful, why do some people never recall them? Are they missing out in some ways? Most of them are perfectly happy, average human beings with no apparent disadvantage in comparison with those who seem to dream regularly. The laboratory experiments using the EEG machine to record brain waves have revealed that people who do not recall their dreams have exactly the same trace patterns as those who remember their dreams vividly. In fact, everyone dreams for regular periods of time during the night, and people who think they never dream either forget them or have thoughts in the night, which they do not consider to be dreams. And they are more like daydreams. If you are one of these non-recallers of their dreams, try discussing dreams with people who do remember them. You will probably find that you begin to recall them more often. What dreams can tell you? That's another good question. Those birds know it too. For those who can remember dreams, the next step is to uncover the real meaning behind them. The key to the subject matter is the dreams are what a famous psychologist, Calvin Hall, once termed a letter to oneself. Once you have learned to read this private letter, some fascinating home truths will emerge. Do not believe that dreams will necessarily show you the answers to all your problems. Alas, no dream has ever repaired a damaged bank account and turned an ugly duckling into a swan. But it might help you to see that, for instance, money is not all important, and a good face or figure is not the be-all and end-all of life. The best way to start examining your dreams is to recall them during the following day. Just mulling them over, even if they seem quite nonsensical, will be of great help. Sometimes a thought will suddenly spring into your mind as a result of these ponderings. It might appear at first to have no connection whatsoever with the subject dreamt of, but a little more thought may reveal the connection. For example, it often happens that a friend introduces you to someone about whom you have heard a great deal. Lots of praises and glory. You may feel a small amount of doubt, but immediately dismiss it and try to socialize. In the end, you come to the conclusion that this new individual is not so bad after all. It is possible that you will have a dream after such an encounter in which this charming and apparently successful individual is turned into a ridiculous figure or a hideous monster or a creepy, crawly insect, depending on the nature of your real view. That first suppressed reaction will come back in a dream form. And not to forget, dwelling on the dream could bring back some reaction. We will come back to this subject. May laughter dance upon your lips, and today's troubles be few. Happiness in your heart, and good health find you too. We will meet again by the next episode, if not earlier, in your dreams. Thank you and keep happy. Smile.